Hello and welcome to Cancer season. If you're just tuning in for the first time to Embodied Astrology, my name is Renee. Welcome back to all my longtime listeners. I'm so happy to be here with you. Your Cancer season horoscopes are coming right up, but first I need to tell you a couple of things. 1, I have recorded horoscopes for Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra seasons all together in the last week. They're going to be edited, so you'll be getting your readings as the seasons start, but I need you to know this for 2 reasons. 1, you're going to see me looking pretty much the same for the next few months. And also, I'll be expanding on some themes that are continuous across this stretch of time, which is basically from the end of June until the end of October in 2025. Also, I want to tell you that I did this because of what I see upcoming in this year's astrology. Surprise, surprise, it is a lot of change. And I wanted to create some more space for myself to get out of my comfort zone and business as usual so that I can be more responsive to some of the changes that are happening in my life, including here at Embodied Astrology. I also wanted to tell you this because it's a great time for any of us to get out of our comfort zones and business as usual. So if you've been feeling a bit restless lately, or like you're anticipating something, or maybe just that you need a change, please, 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 my friends, schedule ahead and plan to disrupt your own rhythms so that you can be available and actively participate more generously with the changes that are trying to happen, especially in the next 4 months. On that note, I have done my best to outline what I see happening in the next months and years astrologically, and I'm including a bonus reading for the collective in Cancer season in this season's offerings. This is about a 20-minute listen, and you can find it linked in the show notes or wherever you found this reading. Please listen to it. There are some messages I really want to share with you. And finally, as I mentioned a moment ago, and as you'll hear me talk about in the bonus reading, there are some changes upcoming at Embodied Astrology. Now, if you've followed my work for a while, you know that I am not here to be a brand. I'm not trying to dominate the astrology sphere or convince anyone that I have all the answers that you need. In fact, Embodied Astrology is a project that is increasingly committed to democratizing astrology and engaging with it as an emergent strategy that anyone can access as a lens for mapping time, revealing complexities, and helping us understand how we got here, what we're doing, and what the deeper potentials are in any given situation or relationship. As the challenges of living together on planet Earth intensify, human beings need truly non-binary languages that can help us bridge the gaps between our own biases and experiences. The synthesis of embodiment practice and astrological thinking is one way we can create this kind of language. At EA, this is what we're investing in. We're putting our resources towards designing and maintaining study groups where people come together to work together. We're actively fostering co-leadership and co-authorship and creating spaces where astrology can expand its potentials through application with other modalities such as conflict transformation, design thinking, urban planning, psychotherapy, and more. Everything we offer is always offered with flexible pricing and sliding scales. Unless capacity is limited, no one is ever turned away for lack of funds. And we consistently redistribute at minimum 10% of our net profits to Indigenous-led environmental protection projects and mutual aid for under-resourced communities. So this brings me to a request, which is this. If you have ever benefited from our work, if you enjoy my monthly readings, if you attend our events, or think you want to someday, please help us to continue to grow and expand our work. In the next 6 to 12 months, my personal goal is to start funding an emergent astrologer space, where the work of a diverse group of astrologically oriented practitioners from many different backgrounds can research and produce writing, art, education, and other kinds of content that is specifically focused on meeting the practical, spiritual, and relational needs of right now. I know that times are tough and budgets are tight, but if every one of our listeners donated $1 a month, we would meet 100% of our operating costs, and we'd be able to not only keep creating monthly horoscopes and regular podcasts for free and offering all of our classes and workshops at sliding scale, but we'd also be able to do so much more. As if this wasn't already an exchange, we are working on a special membership for donors of all amounts, but things like that also cost money to map out and administer, and our team is small and our resources are limited. One thing I can say is that within the next few months, we will be rolling out an ad-free content space. And for the time being, in order to support the work we're trying to grow, we are turning on ads on all of our distribution channels. I know it's annoying. I also know you know how to fast forward. But please know that we're only using them so that we can stay here. If you appreciate this work, please support it. You can sign up for a recurring donation or a one-time donation of any amount in the show notes below. You can also support our work so much by sharing it with your friends and networks and helping boost us on the algorithms by liking, subscribing, and commenting. Another great way to support this work is to purchase our products like the 2025 year ahead readings for your sun, moon, and rising signs, which are all discounted now by 25% because we're halfway through the year. And finally, one of the best ways to support us is to attend our events because most of what we do actually isn't streamed on a podcast. You can find me every Monday in my weekly virtual class on Zoom, Somatic Space, where I offer week-ahead astrology forecasts and gentle adaptive movement, meditation, and visualization practices to help us make the most of the current transits. If you become a Somatic Space member, you'll also get access to our twice-monthly chart reading study groups, led by my colleague, Alisha Mawji, where you can learn more about your chart and astrology through conversation and connections with wonderful people who just might become wonderful friends. We also have regular workshops and events, such as what I'm calling our upcoming reunion tour, with 3 facilitators who have been enormous parts of making embodied astrology what it is: Junata Petrus, Ramon Gabrieloff-Parrish, and Sherry Taylor. Junata is a Cancerian, and she's up first for a very special Cancer season offering of soul sweetening. We'll be leading together and taking turns offering prompts to embody, contemplate, and create with Cancerian energetics and practices we've each cultivated to support us personally through big feelings, trying times, when bonds feel tender, and when uncertainties abound. If this sounds like something you want and need, it's here for you, live or recorded. No one turned away for lack of funds. Okay, thanks for hanging in with me and listening to all of this. You can find more information about everything I just mentioned in the show notes. Please find my reading for the collective for an important general message for Cancer season. And now, onto your horoscopes. Libra, welcome to Cancer season. You might know that Cancer is a sibling sign for you. It is another sign on what's called the cardinal cross. Libra and Cancer both represent important turning points in the year. Your season begins with the equinox, and Cancer season begins with the solstice. So happy solstice wherever you are. I hope that this season is a really good one for you. And being a sibling sign, Cancer holds a really important place in your chart, and this is the heaven of the chart for the Libra solar charts. This is a place that has a lot to do with how you grow and what direction your life wants to move and manifest in. It has a lot to do with how you put yourself out into the world, and that can include your public image and presentation and reputation, but it also includes your intentions and sense of purpose and the idea that you are a creative act yourself. You as a person are a creation, and what you create with this one and precious life is an ongoing project for as long as you are alive. And this place, the 10th place in your chart, has a lot to do with what you create. And that means the legacies that you are part of, the lineages that you tend, and also what you will leave behind. So as we enter into Cancer season, there is a lot of energy for you to be growing right now. Many of you may be feeling the rewards of past labor and the accumulation, kind of long fought for, hard-won accumulation of effort that you have put into what you're making out of your life. And where you are right now is at a significant turning point, and there may be a new cycle beginning or a sense of a new chapter starting. And it's important right now for you to reflect on what you have learned and how you have grown. And you might even consider the last 12 years of your life. The planet Jupiter recently entered Cancer, and Jupiter has a 12-year orbit around the sun, and it will be here for an entire year. Jupiter's associations have a lot to do with teaching and growing and adventure. And very deeply, Jupiter has a significance that is about benefit and how we benefit and who we benefit and what brings benefit to us. And because this energy wants us to learn and grow, how we bring benefit to ourselves, to our lives, and to others is through learning and growing. And as you know, learning and growth is not always easy. Sometimes there are massive challenges. And so as you reflect back on the last 12 years, back to 2013, the last time Jupiter was in this place in your chart, you might reflect on the ways that you have been learning and growing in how you take up space in the world and who you are in like a very public and kind of big way. You know, when you think about yourself out in the world, what do you think about? Now, your career and vocation are definitely important associations in this part of your chart, but there is so much more than our work that we are and that we are working for. So include a broad scope of what you're imagining here and really concentrate on the qualities that you're most interested in growing into. Now, again, to reap the benefits of this energy and also to be of benefit, we want to tune in with our gifts and how we have learned and metabolized what life has had to give to us. And so many of our gifts are cultivated through experiences of struggle, challenge, loss, etc. So as you reflect back on these last 12 years, definitely reflect on how you have grown through challenge and where you are currently and what is calling you emotionally towards your next growth, learning curves, and goals. There is a lot of energy for you right now to be extending yourself in generosity and again, giving the gifts that you have to give. Your life is asking you to move into a very different orientation in your relationships, to really boldly and courageously come into leadership when that is really what's appropriate for you, and just as courageously to step back and to let others lead when that is what's appropriate. This is definitely a time for the collective that it is really important that we all learn to be leaders and supporters. So step in when it's your time to lead, step back when it's your time to follow. And stepping in and stepping back are skills that we cultivate over time, and your life is asking you to cultivate these skills right now. So as we head into Cancer season, there may be some particularly unique challenges, over the course of the first week, especially of Cancer season. So from the 20th through the 27th. If you notice that conflict is coming up with relationships, particularly when it comes to stepping in or stepping back, or issues around taking the lead or supporting others, I want to say that these are conflicts that are really important opportunities for your learning and your growth. If you notice during this time that you are having fluctuating sensations or thoughts about yourself or other people, particularly in these domains of leadership and support, and your thoughts and feelings might be fluctuating between what I'm going to say is kind of fantastical, a little bit maybe even delusional. If you're like, wow, this is amazing, I could do no wrong, or that person is amazing, they can do no wrong. If you feel yourself wanting to pour everything into another person, or if you find yourself having fantasies of your own grandeur or something like that, I want to say that first of all, that's to be expected. And second of all, take it slow. Nothing is ever an absolute, and this is a period of time that is asking you to practice discernment and steadiness in the ways that you are approaching your relationships and also the growth that can happen in your relationships. Now, if you find that some version of the opposite is true, if you're doubting your own leadership capacity, if you're feeling a lot of insecurity, or if you're doubting others and mistrusting their intentions, or finding yourself in spaces of protest or resistance with people who you actually maybe want to organize or find ways to collaborate with, I'm going to say again, this is to be expected, and take it slow. This period of time is really helpful for clarifying intentionality and working really deeply with what I'm going to say is your energy and the more subtle ways that you take up space in your relationships. And your sign, Libra, in medical astrology is said to govern the kidneys. And the kidneys, most people have two of them. Some people only have one. The kidneys are at your lower back. They're at the left and the right sides of your spine. And if you bring your hands behind your back and clasp your opposite arms, your arms will be somewhere in the region of your kidneys. Now, the reason I'm asking you to pay attention to this, or I'm offering this embodiment cue, is because when we're moving with hastiness or with urgency, or when we're in spaces of insecurity or agitation or frustration, we can often get really tight around the kidneys. And then the place in our bodies that Libra's opposite sign, Aries, rules, can become kind of excessive. Now, Aries lives in the head and the eyes, and it governs the I feeling, the me, myself, and mine feeling. And one of the ways that relational stress can activate us is to really put us in our I feeling or othering space with other people. Now, your chart is telling me that it is really important for you right now to experience individuation and interdependence. And these are actually two states that complement one another, but both of them are practices, especially in our culture. We don't get a lot of great examples of these two qualities of being really going together. So individuation or self-actualization is the feeling that you can be who you are. Who you are is special, it is unique. You have so much to offer when you are exactly who you are. That is actually how you are going to give your best gifts in this lifetime. The work that you are actually here to do is be yourself completely. And being yourself completely requires practice. Self-actualization and individuation is a lifelong practice. And these practices can include all kinds of things: self-reflection, therapy, meditation, breath work, any kind of reflective practices that help you kind of tune in with your thoughts and feelings and discern what's yours, or maybe what is someone else's thoughts or feelings that have taken up space in your consciousness. Your individuation and self-actualization includes a lot of working through fears and insecurities and even generational ancestral traumas or subtle energies that take a while to get to know. Now, as we actualize and individuate, we are able to cultivate and sustain deeper, more intimate relationships with others because we don't get caught up in enmeshment or othering patterns, and we have a clear sense of who we are, what we want, what we need, and what we have to give. And so interdependence then becomes possible. Now, interdependence is a recognition that none of us can exist alone. We can't even breathe alone. We can't eat or drink anything alone. Everything that we do here on planet Earth requires all life that is here on planet Earth. And to engage interdependently with grace is one of Libra's core motivations. And in order for you to do that, my friend, you have to be really self-actualized and individuated. So this first week or so of Cancer season, there is a new moon on June 25th that is just a day after the Sun's conjunction with Jupiter, and this begins a new cycle of Jupiterian energy manifesting for the next year, again, and as part of your chart that has a lot to do with who and how you are in the world. This is a time for you to I'm going to say respect the conflicts or the places of friction or uncertainty that you might find in your relationships. It is a time to respect the challenges. If you feel like you are being asked to rise to the occasion of your life, or you need to work something out with another person or with the way that you relate to yourself in order to do something that you want to do, this is necessary learning and growth right now. So focus on the dual practices of individuation and interconnectivity. The more that you actualize and really fill up your own space, the more you can relate with others from places of authenticity, honesty, and integrity. And that is what this time wants for you. Now, after this first week of Cancer season, there is an interesting kind of shift in energy as the planet Mercury enters the sign Leo. Mercury will be here for a good long while because Mercury will be retrograde in Leo starting later in July. Right before we end Cancer season, Mercury stations retrograde on the 18th of July, but Mercury begins its shadow period or the lead up to the retrograde on the 26th of June. So from June 26th until July 18th, definitely pay attention to communications. This is a time to be cautious of contracts and agreements, as well as plans that you're making. This retrograde will happen in the solar 11th house for Libra charts, and this is a place of friendships, groups, networks, organizations, and broader affiliations. This is also a place where you're really thinking about your future. Now, Leo is a very creative energy, and Mercury wants to communicate. If any of you are thinking about projects that have you talking, writing, or any other kind of creative communication and expression that are coming up in the future, I'm going to say that the Mercury retrograde is an excellent time to prepare these kinds of projects. And retrogrades are often asking for the RE prefix to be applied, so this could be a really wonderful time for research and reflection, and maybe a time when you want to just take it slow and take it easy in terms of what it is that you are planning. Now, some of you are working some things out with friends, with colleagues, organizations, or networks that you may be a part of. This is also an energy that for Libra is very supportive for organizing. We are living at a time of a lot of mobilization of energy. There are a lot of people who want to take more investment and activist kind of engagement with things that are happening in the world, and you might be one of those people. So I want to say that this energy is really helpful for organizing and organizing with groups of people, and one of the best ways that you can harness the gifts of this energy is through joy and things that you do that are collaborative and communally creative. So if you're interested in building bonds in a friendship or deepening ties with a group of people that you're working with or strategizing for the future and thinking about organizing long term, I would say start off by doing things that bring you happiness and joy, that turn the corners of your mouth up. Singing together, dancing together, making art together, getting outside in nature together, doing something that feels enlivening to your energy and expansive for your heart will make the work and the labor that you are also engaging with a lot easier. And when we enjoy ourselves together, that actually builds a bond and kind of glue in the connection, and it can really help us to metabolize and absorb and process what isn't always so easy in our relationships or in the world and in the ways that we are working to affect some kind of circumstance or situation that we may be invested in. as we get into the beginning of July, there is a big boost of energy that is coming into the air element. So on July 4th, your ruling planet Venus makes a move into the sign Gemini, your fellow air sign, and a couple of days later on July 7th, the outer planet Uranus follows Venus into Gemini. Now, Venus will only be in Gemini until the end of July, but Uranus will be in Gemini until September. It will be there until November. It stations retrograde in September. It will move back into Taurus, where it has been for 7 years now. And then next April, it will move back into Gemini, and it will stay there until 2033. So this is a really important influence for everybody, and especially for the air element signs. And for you, Libra, this is an exciting feeling influence. I feel that a lot of you are really ready to shake things up and get a little more free. I'm going to say this is a very liberating influence. It wants you to let go of inhibitions and insecurities, particularly when it comes to the ways that you orient yourself philosophically and ideologically. There may be some reasons for you right now to feel the sensation I get is that there's like some internal conflicts that some of you may be experiencing, potentially in particular relationships. You might find yourself speaking to other people in your head. I often speak to other people in my head. Maybe you do too. There may be debates or arguments or points that you're trying to prove or something like that. You may know these people that you're speaking to in your head, or you may not. There may be a sense of you kind of thinking about how you want to communicate or express your ideas. Some of you may be wanting to teach or travel, or there may be ways that you feel that you have something to offer when it comes from your learned experience, your lived experience, and the insight or perspectives that you have. And I feel that a lot of you it's like you're kind of restless and you want to expand in your life and in the ways that you are expressing yourself outwardly. And you're getting ready for something new. So as Venus enters Gemini and then Uranus enters Gemini a couple days later, new ideas might start to flow in. As I've already talked about with Cancer season, this is definitely a period of time that is asking you to reflect on who and how you are in the world. And these Gemini influences are bringing in some fresh, maybe kind of surprising ideas about what you want to do and how you could do it. Some of you may be a little, you could be excited. You could be a little intimidated. You could have a feeling of like, can I really do this? Can I really be like this? It might feel a little strange. You might want to take some risks. And I want to say, Libra, yes, you do. Go for it. This is the time for you to expand your energy, to try new things, to let yourself be a little weird, a little strange. If there are things that you've been wanting to study or learn, or again, if there are ways that you're thinking about teaching or putting out your expertise or advising in the world, this is a really interesting, powerful, and supportive time for you to change things up and do something new. And that influence definitely increases and gets grounded with the Capricorn full moon on July 10th and a couple of days later on the 12th when Saturn stations retrograde in Aries, your solar 7th place. All in all, the energies of Cancer season for you, Libra, are really powerful. A lot of you are making big changes. You are thinking about expressing yourself in new and different ways. A lot of you are thinking about taking significant risks. These are risks that have to do with how you express yourself in the world and in your life, as well as risks that you might be ready to take in particular relationships that have to do with your individuation, autonomy, and sense of sovereignty, as well as the ways that you want and need to collaborate and be connected with others. Now, I'll finish this by saying that throughout the season, you need rest in order to really integrate all the new information that is coming in. When you don't give yourself enough rest or time for quietness and contemplation, you run the risk of acting in ways that are more unconscious, and this could lead to oversight or injury or, a misstep that you could avoid if you give yourself time and space to rest. So once again, tuning in with Libra in the body, your lower back and back body, your kidney and adrenal area, and really taking some time to breathe, to relax, to remember that you can let your energy rest back. These are ways that you can help rebalance and calibrate and even find a sense of rest at any time. So if you are feeling like you're not getting enough rest, it is a very stressful and chaotic time in the world, give yourself 5 to 10 breaths a couple of times a day and imagine that a loving presence is behind you and you can rest back into that presence for support. I talk about this quite a lot. Many of the transits that are happening in Cancer season are notable transits in the entire year of 2025. So if you want more information, check out your 2025 year ahead reading. You can find that in the link below. We are halfway through 2025 already somehow, and so those readings are now discounted by 25%. Again, there's a ton of information in them that definitely include what's happening in Cancer season as well as the entire year. And I give you a much longer meditation practice and embodied support there that I think could also be very supportive for you in Cancer season. Libra, I hope that this horoscope serves you well this season. I am wishing you all the best in Cancer season and beyond. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in with me, y'all. If this message feels supportive for you, please help support me by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing this work with your friends and networks. Check the show notes for other ways to support the work at Embodied Astrology, including getting your 2025 year ahead readings, which are now 25% discounted, or coming to the Cancer season workshop, which I'll be co-facilitating with the one and only Janata Petrus, or attend one of my weekly classes or the bi-monthly chart reading study groups with Alisha, or become a sustaining donor. There are so many ways to support this work and so many ways this work wants to support you. All that information and more in the show notes. I'm wishing you all the best in Cancer season and beyond.